What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Crypto podcast, sponsored by Cryptorsy. I'm Mike Graham, and I'm your guide and host as we go on some awesome adventures with some amazing builders, some amazing projects in the Web3 space. Today, we have an amazing conversation with Hanis, CEO of Reinvent DAO. Hanis, it's amazing to have you with us on the show, on the episode. Welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our conversation. I mean, for the listeners who, have not met, I mean, we've had the pleasure to kind of get to know each other a little bit already. But for the listeners who don't know you fully yet, give us a little bit of an intro. Who are you? What's your project about? I mean, tell us a little bit about you, and we'll talk about Reinvent DAO very shortly. But tell us a little bit about who Hanis is.
Sure. Well, everyone, hi. My name is Hanis Harmilis. So I'm also actually known as NFT Queen Asia as my moniker. Well, it sounds as fun as it is. But most important of all, I'm actually the founder and CEO of Reinvent DAO. People are asking, what is actually Reinvent DAO? Of course, we can talk about that with Mike shortly as well. But predominantly what we do at Reinvent DAO, we are actually building something pretty wild. We're turning your knowledge, your know-how into a tradable IP, which is intellectual property assets that we put it on chain. So this is something that's new, something wild. We can talk more about that. But for me, I actually come from banking and consulting background prior to this. So having that background in the TradFi space, I understand the whole ecosystem, how it works, from, understanding lending, payments. And when we can talk about that shortly, Mike, how I really get into Web3. But within this space, what I really figure out is that hey, we are moving towards the future. This is a new model that's coming out of this new decentralized internet economy. Because what's important for me, Web3 is actually about ownership. So we can talk more about that later.
I
Thanks, Mike.
love I love that intro, Hannes. I love that intro. I mean, so many little golden nuggets to pick up on, the concept of, I think, decentralized economy being the future, the internet economy, right? I mean, it's crazy to think, even 15 years, 20 years ago, there's a lot of Web3 wasn't even really, maybe it was thought of, but it wasn't really as popular as it is today. But let's touch on one of the golden nuggets that you were talking on, which is maybe your background in banking and kind of how you started to get into Web3. Let's go down that conversation a little bit. How did you first, do you remember how you first got into Web3, how you first got into the industry? How did that happen for you?
Thank you. Well, like everyone else, I first bought my Bitcoin was actually at that time during the DeFi Summer, which was around, say, 2019, 2018, around that time. But it was
Okay.
because my banking peers were trying to trick me. They're like, hey, there's something Bitcoin. We don't know. There's no even, you have to buy it like in a secret manner. So I just gave some of my extra cash to them. But my real involvement in crypto really started when I started to believe in it was during COVID time. So having that Bitcoin just kept in my wallet, I was like, all right, this is something for me to gamble and try on. But as COVID happened, and I've been in Hong Kong, I live in Hong Kong, we were on a lockdown, we can't really go out, we can't travel. So I decided to actually give back. So I mentor startups by joining incubator as mentors. Like it was Tinity now, but it was called F10 before. So having that, it was during the DeFi summer, and I got to mentor all of these DeFi startups who are building, say, trade finance protocol or even lending protocol. So from there, that's how I got myself really deep into the technology, which is blockchain. As a banker, I built a lot of like lending and payment. I strategized that from a system, even from product proposition. So I got excited into it, and I see this is the future because with blockchain as an underlying infrastructure that enable our Web3 economy, we don't really require intermediaries. However, we are still at this early stage. So from there, I started getting into blockchain. I educate my banking peers about what is NFT. I started trading into NFTs, and that's how my moniker of NFT Queen Asia came. Because they're like, hey, Hanis, you've been educating us about NFTs. You've been educating us about this whole Web3 ecosystem. You are like the NFT Queen Asia. So it became a thing. So from there, I started educating and advising people. And from then the rest of history when I quit my corporate job about 2 years ago. And I travel around to Web3 conferences, meeting like, people across the world. And then Reinvent DAO started. Yeah.
Congratulations. Well, listen, congratulations on many things. One, congratulations on, quitting the corporate job. It sounds like that was a big, it's a big achievement, right? Congratulations also on the nickname. It's like the nickname, found you almost, right? Which is wonderful. I think one thing that's really interesting about your story that I love is that throughout the story, the narrative is consistent in terms of you giving value, right? Like you were helping people, you were helping others, and that's such a wonderful thing. So tell us a little bit about Reinvent DAO, though, because you've given us a few little nuggets so far. What is the project about? What is the problem that you guys are solving? What is the user case? Yeah, show the project.
Sure. Like maybe, thank you for congratulating me. Like thank you for congratulating me. Because one thing I have to say, Mike, when leaving something that is so secure, a corporate job, it's definitely very nerve-wracking because you don't have that cushion safe space anymore. So at that time it was COVID, the world started to open up post-COVID.
Yeah.
And with Reinvent DAO, how it all started. As I found my, I would say, soul calling. um, the whole idea was that in around end of 2022, the whole thing with FTX happened, right? And banking saga happened, and everyone was actually losing jobs with tech companies, even crypto. So we are professionals. We are white collar professionals, right? What are actually our skill sets, our assets? It's here. Like for myself as well, when I travel, I do provide, like, say, consulting advice before. So because I have my specific know-how on how I do stuff, and I advise companies as well. So from there, I started thinking, hey, how can we help people who are actually have lost their jobs, who want to get recognized and still scale, but also use what their existing assets have and turn it into a tradable asset? Because for me, I believe Web3 is about ownership. And by tokenizing or putting a specific asset, whether it's tangible or intangible assets on a blockchain, and you create a liquidity pool out of that, you are able to trade this. That's how you can provide more value of the assets that you hold. So this is how Reinvent DAO started. When we first started, we actually looked into the whole iteration of, product market fit, doing a lot of research. We were understanding how can we help the likes of white collar professionals for them
Mm-hmm.
to earn as a passive income. So
Mm-hmm.
as we built this, and now we are actually in a phase where on our go-to markets, we are actually helping the likes of AI creators. So
Mm.
AI creators, like people who are marketers who built with AI, who design with AI, even those people, those creators who actually want to use what they have as a asset that they produce, whether AI generated image or AI generated video. You might have seen this, right, Mike? A lot on
Mm.
LinkedIn. People were posting that in terms of, this is how I generate my prompts, and this is the kind of video I have. This is the image that I generated from different AI tools. So with this, what we're building as a solution for Reinvent DAO is that on our platform, we allow you to collaborate. We allow you to tokenize your work and your work output as your proof of creation, like your prompts as a know-how. Package that as an IP bundle, and you can license that to your clients by setting the license terms and also set the royalty stakes. So this is
Wow.
creating a new liquefying of IP rights market economy.
Wow, I love
That's
that. I
what
love
we're
that.
building.
I love that. I love that in so many ways because I think it creates a whole new liquidity market in both ways, right? For the experts that have the IP, like you say, right? And it also creates a market for them in order to sell their service, their their products, right? It productizes what they do, right? Because a lot of times they struggle with that, right? When people are experts, they know so much about a concept. It gives really easy access to the consumers to the information, which is, I think, it's massively valuable, right? And so
Definitely, definitely.
what stage is Reinvent DAO at? Like, where are you guys at in your journey? Where are you guys at?
Very good question. We are actually in the very early beta stage right now. So we have an MVP product and we're bringing on board a lot of these AI creators that we're testing in terms of how they see a fit in on, the user experience, the product market fit, because at the end of the day, it's also about educating. Everything in Web3 is about educating. And how do you simplify the narrative? How do you simplify the way of how you allow the likes of your user to just use your product with one click? No code solution, one click. But at the back of the infrastructure, of course, there's smart contracts, there's APIs, there's all this compliance that you need to navigate, right? So for us, right, at the beta stage, we're testing with about 50 to 80 AI creators, allowing them use our product, educate them yet about how we can help them to recognize the work that they've done as a proof of creation because it's IP. Also into how they can monetize, how they can license this, and all of these are actually about bringing them on a step-by-step journey with us.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So at the moment, you're bringing on obviously the people that bring the content, the courses, essentially, or the products, right? And talk to us a little bit about the community building on the Web3 side. I mean, I'm more interested from my role, really at Cryptorsy, right? Like, I'm always fascinated by how projects are maybe doing guerrilla marketing, or how they're doing maybe some of the tried and tested strategies like using KOLs. I'm always quite fascinated by how projects are doing their growth process with their community. So what are some things that you guys are up to, right?
So the way we structure at Reinvent DAO, our model is that we structure it two ways. We separate the ones with the creators, which is the likes of Web 2.5 creators, like AI creators, who actually have specific skill sets on that. And the way we approach our go to market with them is a lot more on one-to-one hand holding, especially the first 50 customers, a lot of workshops that we've done. And we also select ambassadors amongst these AI creators who can start to advocate about, this is the value, this is the proposition that we're introducing. The Web3 community, it's a very separate thing. So we
Totally
have
separate, right?
totally separate because we know the target audience of Web3 is different. So for
Totally.
Web3, we have about 2,000 plus members now in our Telegram, and we're building our socials on Twitter. And the way is that we are launching our token, which is called RAIV, REIV, that it will be for next year, hopefully Q1 2025. And with that, the way we are actually marketing and we are building our community is also based on trust. It's also based on, hey guys, this is the value proposition that we're giving to our community. We are helping the likes of creators to turn that into tradable IP assets. If you join us on this journey, you are able to also participate by holding the token. You're also able to participate into this ecosystem of utility of IP assets. So this is how Reinvent DAO works. It's about liquefying IP rights. The creators will definitely get the benefit as they own the IP assets. But also remember, investors can also invest in our IP pool, because our IP pool will belong to a group of IP assets collection. In exchange, they can get royalties as well as our tokens. So you are eventually participating into the future performance of the IP assets, which is a new asset class. So this is the narrative, and this is how we're bringing on board our Web3 community onto our program. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
The other part I wanted to say is that we're doing also a lot of collabs, a lot of AMAs. So that's also how we start to putting it out there. A lot of events that we done, especially at Token to 049, and also in Hong Kong, we're going to do some events as well. So check out our website. We do actually host a lot of events, even like our AI creators webinar, even like, Web3 events that we host from time to time in different countries. So yeah, check us out.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Listen, I would love to have a conversation with you after the show, even just about, helping you guys with some of the community growth, because it's such I think what the power is so interesting is the content generators, they can essentially bring their communities, right? Because it's a win for them, it's a win for their communities, it's a win for you guys as a project. And that's it's a win-win-win scenario for everyone,
Definitely,
essentially, which
definitely,
is
definitely,
really
Mike.
cool.
This is
Yeah,
all about it's all about collaboration in Web3.
exactly,
Like
exactly. I love
collaboration
that.
that brings value. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, listen, talk to us. Well, you kind of started tapping a little bit into it, so let's go into that next step nicely. What are some of the goals and aspirations for the project, and maybe even for yourself personally in the Web3 space? Like, yeah, where is the journey going? Like, what are some milestones, goals that you have in mind?
Sure. Well, the goal for Reinvent DAO as a project or as a whole, what we envision to see is that we want to empower the likes of creators, especially the creators with specific skills in knowledge, the knowledge-based economy, to actually monetize and earn and own your IP, own your work, and at the same time allow them to earn this as a passive income. Because after all, what we're building is to empower each other to build a collective knowledge-based economy. We move
Mhm.
into the world of Web3, world of decentralization. We move into a world where we can collaborate and co-create together in order to produce the value of an asset that belongs within the IP space, which is intellectual property. And
Yeah.
in terms of milestone for our project, of course, we have 2 more months till the end of the year. I can't believe. So we are using heavily in terms of bringing on board more AI creators and bringing them on board to test and be part of this journey with us. So if you are a specific, say, marketing agency who builds with AI, or even design agency, or even AI artists, do come on board and be part of our early adopters community. And
Mm.
of course, in terms of our Web3 community, we are looking forward to collaborate with a lot more IP specific projects or RWA, because we are tokenizing IP as RWA, or even gaming. So a lot of collabs from AMAs, or even like say campaign that we can do together. That's what we are
Mm.
reaching out to a lot more ecosystem people in the ecosystem. In terms of my personal goal, that's a very good question that you asked, Mike. Uh,
Mm.
I think you might have heard a lot of founders would say we want to bring on board 1 billion more 1 billion users onto Web3. For me, of course, mass adoption will happen, and it will happen with the right value that you add. What I hope to see is that someone like my mom, or well, my grandma or my mom could actually understand what Web3 is about, what the value of Web3 can input to that. Because for me, to see that someone else can understand the value of why do you need to own your own key? Why do you need to have own your own asset and data? That helps them to also use on a day-to-day convenient, from how they interact, how they work, how they socialize in a very seamlessly way. So that's my personal goal aspiration.
Wow, I tell you what, kudos to you, right? Hats off to you. Because if and when, you achieve that one, that's a big one, right? And I think that's
Yeah,
the goal for so many people, Hannes, isn't it? I love one topic you touched on during the conversation was where it could be like one button and someone's interacting with the project, and maybe it's Web3 technology in the background, but they don't even know it's Web3 technology, right? I think
yeah.
I was reading something recently that I think it was Instagram was built on Jarvis or some really, normal kind of code or whatever. Nobody cares, right? Nobody
Nobody
really cares. What
cares.
they care about is how easy it is to use, right? The interface. And I think
That's
Web3,
right.
that's like the next big leap, right? And I think, but a big process of that is education. And projects like yours are such an important bridge for that narrative in Web3 and that passage to bringing on board more people. Listen, I've loved learning about your project. I'm sure the listeners have as well. You've shared so many useful golden little nuggets. Let's talk a little bit of fun, just as we come towards the conclusion. Tell us a little bit, maybe what's your favorite token or your favorite coin, and maybe why. And it could be any, There's no good or bad on this one. What do you like at the moment in the market?
Well, um, favorite token? I'm going to be a bit boring. I think, okay, I'm going to say my favorite token, of course, I would say is Bitcoin, but I don't want to talk about Bitcoin. I would say my favorite, besides Bitcoin, my favorite coin is also Tron, TRX. Why I like it? Well, to be honest, I like it because of number one, it's low transaction fees and it's fast, it's scalable, and the strong community that they have is amazing. So even in my interactions, in everything, I usually use TRX in terms of how I transfer it. Even on USDT, I use TRC20. So Tron is my favorite coin.
Wow,
Token.
good stuff. And I think
Yes.
with what they're doing with the meme, they're coming into the meme narrative as well, right? Them,
Yeah,
Ton, they're following after Solana, which is interesting.
that's
But I
right.
think what's exciting about the meme narrative is it captures a lot of attention. And
Mm,
so, where attention goes, money flows normally. And so it could be very
that's
exciting
right.
for, Ton. It could be very exciting for TRC as well. So listen, last point before we wrap up then. What is a movement in the Web3? I mean, you've been in the space since 2018, 2019, when you first bought, your first Bitcoin, like you were saying at the beginning. What is something in the market that you're seeing at the moment? You've talked about RWAs, you've talked about tokenizing IP, which is so exciting. What is a narrative in the Web3 space at the moment that you're quite bullish about, that excites you?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say for me, of course, if you look at the trend, meme coin is number one. But for me, meme coin, I love meme coin, don't get me wrong. However, I'm very much bullish with something that is something with where I see common traits are actually amongst AI and blockchain. I believe blockchain or crypto, whatever you want to call it, are able to solve a lot of this AI problem on content, on data, even from an infrastructure layer, even from IP ownership layer, and even from execution of how we want to say use AI to predict a lot of certain price, certain valuation, even use AI for Gen AI for a certain generation of a specific knowledge, a specific product. So what we realize is that a lot of blockchain element can be used to tokenize this with AI. So I'm very bullish of that because you know that there's about 16 trillion market cap opportunity in AI in the next 3 to 5 years. What people believe AI will change the economy of the world. And
Mm.
now with blockchain coming in together, these two amalgamate them together, this is going to create something that is wow. That's what I believe.
Maybe that's going to give birth to a whole new industry, right? Like
Yes.
AI, Web3, put DeFi in there. We're ready
Yes.
to go to Mars, never mind the
Yeah, you don't
moon.
need Elon Musk.
Oh, that's fun. Well, listen, you've been great, Hannes. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure the listeners have as well. Just
Thank
final
you.
little thing before we wrap up. It's been wonderful listening about your journey with Reinvent DAO, the journey of a builder, of a founder. Just, a lot of our listeners are founders, they are builders. I always like to ask the guests to leave us with maybe a final, like a motivational quote or maybe a piece of advice, right? So it's totally up to you. It could be a quote, it could be a piece of advice, but the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I would say for any founders and for any builders, take risks in life, because whether it's a one chance or many chances, what you realize is that when you start a business, you will really stretch yourself. You will really know yourself. And this is something that is very wild experience, but it's something very rewarding at the same time. It's challenging. It's very challenging, but you discover a lot more about yourself that sometimes you just don't know that you have these skills, you have these strengths, because all of this will leave you to the amount of resilience that you will gain as a founder or even as builders, building something that is at the frontier of today's world economy. So that would be my advice to everyone.
I love that, Hannes. Take the risk, take the leap, give it a go, love the journey, and maybe change the world whilst you're doing it, right? So I love that so much. Thank you so much.
Uh,
Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been wonderful having Hannes,
Thank
CEO and
you.
founder of Reinvent DAO with us. My name's Mike G. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Cheers. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me. Bye.